Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for coming to the 2026 Spring City Allred Reunion. I'm Christian, I'm the secretary and treasurer of the AFO. So we'll go ahead and get started with opening prayer first, which will be done by our president Bob, and then we will go ahead and move forward with the flag ceremony. The next step.
I'm going to turn the time over to Bill. And what we're going to do is he's going to say a few words and then we're going to do pledge of allegiance and we'll move on from there. Thanks, Paul. Let me add something. We have a little hiccup in the plan. We have these little flags here because since the scouts don't function here in this building anymore, the flag went away. So we have these little flags, and we were going to have some of our kids and grandkids hold the flags, but they just got on the wagon to go to the cemetery to put red flags on their all red graves. So they're unable to do so. I will hold them.
Well, good morning. Well, good morning, family. Before we begin our reunion, I would like us to pause and reflect on where we are, who we are, and what we have inherited. This year marks the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. 250 years ago, a handful of ordinary men signed an extraordinary document. By doing so, they risked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor for an idea that had rarely existed in human history. The idea that our rights come from God, not government, and not the free, and that free people are capable of governing themselves. That idea changed the world. For 250 years, Americans have defended that promise, some with their words, some with their labor, some with their faith, and some with their lives. Because of their sacrifices, generations of families, including our own, have been blessed with freedoms and opportunities that much of the world has never known. As I look around this gathering of the Allred family, I see living results of those blessings. I see the descendants of pioneers. I see veterans. I see fathers and mothers. And I see sons and daughters. And I also see grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I see a family that has been able to worship freely, work freely, dream freely, and build freely because liberty was preserved by those who came before us. None of us created that inheritance, but all of us have received it. And each of us now bears a responsibility to preserve for those who will follow. Today, as we celebrate family, let us also remember the nation that made so much of our family story possible. May we never take for granted the freedom that we enjoy, the sacrifices that secured them, or the God who is the source of them. Please join me in standing and placing your hand over your heart as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we're gonna just do a brief report of the AFO, just going over some announcements that we have. As you saw, probably if you started scanning the QR code, we are discussing adding in the future the virtual family reunions to do in the future. So the survey is just to kind of get your guys' feedback on what you guys would like. We're thinking of potentially doing like every other year, doing a virtual reunion instead of an in-person reunion here. So it'd be 1 year virtual and the next year in person, or maybe 2 years or 3 years. So we just want to get your feedback. So if you scan the QR code, it'll come up a couple of more times. Just when you have a moment, that would be great. Also, this year is our last year for the terms of our officers. So we have president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and then we're also adding an assistant newsletter editor to help Deborah Gingrich, who is the newsletter editor currently. So if you would like to nominate somebody, the nomination papers are in the back over with Deborah. You can just write somebody's name down in their information, and then we will have this next newsletter will have the names of the nominations. And then the winter newsletter will be the one where we'll be doing the voting. That's right, right?
What, I'm sorry?
The
So
the fall one will be the one
we'll be accepting newsletters,
nomination.
nominations. Nominations, and yes, and through the next newsletter.
Yeah.
And then they'll all be posted and in the following, the last week. Hold on. Yes, the fall winter one, it'll be posted. We'll also have availability to do an online voting as well.
Yeah.
That will be in the newsletter and on the website as well, and then.
Don't nominate somebody that you haven't got permission for.
Yeah, please ask permission to nominate them. But yeah, so winter is when we'll be doing the voting, and that's for the AFO members that will be voting for the officers. And then also, we are looking for the next year's reunion committee. So if you'd like to be in the reunion committee, you can also, there's a sign up sheet also in the back with Deborah. Even if we are going to be doing a virtual reunion, we still need help with the reunion. So if you'd like to join or know somebody who would like to join the reunion committee and help with planning, you can please nominate them, but again, ask permissions first with your nominating all that. So. And then also just a reminder that all of the that we are a nonprofit and that all of the money that you spend on the t-shirts and things like that are tax deductible. So you can use those for charitable donations for taxes like that as well. That is all I have for announcements. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
But what I'd like to do is just expand a little bit on what we're talking about with the virtual reunion, that kind of thing. Basically, what it amounts to, and we've mentioned it before, is that all organizations have a lifespan. We've been going for over 35 years now. And if you think back to 1989, 1988, when we were first starting to do this, there were no iPhones, there was no computer stuff. There was a little bit of computer stuff, but it was all mainframe and, very little personal computer. And technology has just changed completely. And me being an old person, I am used to the technology I grew up with. And so what we're trying to do is to understand the family, where we're at. And do we have people that want to be involved more with instead of traveling a long distance, have virtual meetings of some sort or reunions or something like that, or maybe not. So if you would please let us know what your thoughts are, that would be good, because we're really trying to do some things to improve the organization. We've been working much more with the city of Spring City. There's an organization, Charles is going to come and say a few words a little bit later. He's the president of the Friends of Spring City, and they do a lot of projects. We worked with them on restoring the old school. We've just redone the bottom part of the fire pit. We're going to get the top part done. There's some opportunities to, we have all the logs for an original blacksmith shop and the tools. But we got to figure out where we can put it, and somebody that took it apart 50 years ago didn't leave any instructions. So it's going to take a few minutes to figure out how everything goes together. But the point is the hope would be as we continue to move on that we can do some things like, an operational blacksmith shop, or at least one that, you could walk into and see how it all worked and looked. And there's some other things that we're working with the Friends of Spring City and the City Council of Spring City to do. This is an Allred town. It was settled originally by Allreds. And we're proud of it. And that's why we've been having a reunion here since 1989. So at any rate, we're not trying to stop the old way of doing things. We're just trying to see if there's a better way for us to communicate with the family than what we've been doing. Well, appreciate that much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then something else I just remembered as well, we are going to take a small break in between speakers, so that way we can get a group photo. So that will be about halfway through, so that way we'll also get a chance to get at the.
I'd like to wait for the kids to get back. We got about 40 or 50 kids that are on that train or being all over the cemetery to go put red flags on Allred grave. And I'd like to have that for the picture.
Yeah. So we'll keep it, we'll play it by ear.